Hello everyone! In this video the reflection questions and model answers for Lesson 7 will be read to you.
Reflection questions, Virtue and Freedom, Lesson 7 Part 1. 1. What are the 4 general principles of ethics according to Father Spitzer? Model answer. The 4 general principles of ethics according to Father Spitzer are: Silver Rule: do not do unto others what you would not have them do unto you. Golden Rule: do unto others what you would have them do unto you. End does not justify the means, you cannot use an evil means to get to a good end. Principle of double effect: sometimes, you may be constrained to do an action that has a secondary or double effect that is harmful, but the objective was not to cause the harm. 2. What is the difference between the Silver Rule and the Golden Rule? Model answer. The Silver Rule is about avoiding unnecessary harms to others. It is the minimum standard of ethical behavior. The Golden Rule is about going the extra mile and doing good for others. It is the standard of Christian love. 3. Why does Father Spitzer say that following these ethical principles will make your life worth living? Model answer. Father Spitzer says that following these ethical principles will make your life worth living because it will help you focus on a life of contribution. When you live an ethical life, you are not only avoiding harm to others, but you are also actively doing good for them. This can give your life a sense of purpose and meaning. In addition to the above, I would also like to add that following these ethical principles can help us to build strong and meaningful relationships with others. When we treat others with respect and kindness, they are more likely to treat us in the same way. This can lead to happier and more fulfilling lives for everyone involved. 4. What are the 2 competing ideas about what makes a person a person? Model answer. The 2 competing ideas about what makes a person are: individualistic view: every person is defined by their own goals for self-fulfillment, and we are all basically in competition with each other. Communitarian view: our meaning as a person comes from being made in the image of God, and we exist in a community of reciprocal indebtedness. 5. What are the implications of these 2 competing ideas for society? Model answer. The individualistic view leads to a society where people are seen as self-interested individuals seeking personal gain. The communitarian view leads to a society where people are seen as caring individuals seeking good for all the members, especially the vulnerable ones. 6. What is Professor Sneed's argument in favor of the communitarian view? Model answer. Professor Sneed argues that the communitarian view is more in line with the realities of human existence. We are born into relationships and we need others in order to survive and thrive. We also have obligations to one another, especially to the vulnerable. 7. What are the 2 main criticisms that Professor Sneed makes of radical individualism? Model answer. Professor Sneed makes 2 main criticisms of radical individualism. It is deeply inegalitarian, as it gives more power and privilege to the strong and privileged. It leads to a breakdown of community and civil society, as people become increasingly isolated and focused on their own individual goals. 8. How does Professor Sneed argue that law can be used to promote human dignity? Model answer. Professor Sneed argues that law can be used to promote human dignity by protecting the rights of the weak and vulnerable, even if those rights are unpopular or inconvenient for the majority. He points to the law on abortion as an example of a law that fails to recognize the basic humanity of the unborn child. 9. What does Professor Sneed say is the role of each of us in the fight against radical individualism? Model answer. Professor Sneed says that each of us has a role to play in the fight against radical individualism by working to promote a richer sense of human persons and human flourishing. He suggests that we can do this through education, prayer, and by living our lives in a way that reflects our belief in the dignity of every human being. In addition to the above, I would like to add that Professor Sneed's argument is based on the belief that human beings are created in the image of God and that we all have inherent dignity. This belief is the foundation of Christian ethics, and it is what should motivate us to work for a society where everyone is treated with respect and compassion. Reflection questions, Virtue and Freedom, Lesson 7 Part 2. 1. What is the difference between personal justice and social justice? Model answer: Personal justice is concerned with giving each individual their due, while social justice is concerned with giving each group their due. This means that social justice is interested in the common good, and in ensuring that all groups in society have equal access to opportunities and resources. 2. What is the principle of an unjust law? Model answer: The principle of an unjust law is that a law that is unjust does not deserve to be called a law at all. This principle is based on the belief that justice is a higher standard than the positive law, and that the law should serve justice, not the other way around. 3. What is the importance of the principle of personhood in social ethics? Model answer: The principle of personhood is important in social ethics because it ensures that all human beings are treated with equal dignity and respect. This principle is based on the belief that all human beings are created in the image of God, and that they all have inherent worth. In addition to the above, I would like to add that the 5 principles of social ethics discussed in the text are all essential for building a just and compassionate society. By adhering to these principles, we can create a society where everyone has the opportunity to thrive. 4. What are the 3 arguments that Father Spitzer makes against the idea that some human beings do not qualify as persons? Model answer: Father Spitzer makes 3 arguments against the idea that some human beings do not qualify as persons. Moral argument: It is unjust and unethical to deprive any human being of the basic rights and protections that are due to all persons. Scientific argument: All human beings share the same genetic makeup, and therefore all human beings should be considered persons. Theological argument: All human beings are created in the image of God, and therefore all human beings should be treated with dignity and respect. 5. What is the difference between inalienable rights and positive law? Model answer: Inalienable rights are rights that belong to all people by their very nature. They are not given to us by any government or other authority, and they cannot be taken away. Positive law, on the other hand, is law that is created by humans. It can be changed or repealed at any time. 6. What is the necessity criterion for rights, and how can it be used to resolve conflicts between different rights? Model answer: The necessity criterion for rights states that if one right is necessary for the very possibility of another right, then the right which is necessary for it is the more fundamental right. This criterion can be used to resolve conflicts between different rights by prioritizing the more fundamental right. For example, if there is a conflict between the right to life and the right to liberty, the necessity criterion would dictate that the right to life is the more fundamental right. This is because the right to life is necessary for the very possibility of the right to liberty. If someone is dead, they cannot exercise their right to liberty. 7. What are the 5 principles of social ethics? Model answer: The 5 principles of social ethics are: 1. The principle of personhood, which states that all human beings are persons, regardless of their race, ethnicity, religion, gender, or any other factor. 2. The principle of justice, which states that all people are due equal treatment and respect. 3. The principle of an unjust law, which states that a law that is unjust does not deserve to be called a law at all. 4. The principle of inalienable rights, which states that all human beings have certain rights that cannot be taken away from them by any government or other authority. 5. The necessity criterion for rights, which is a way to prioritize inalienable rights when they come into conflict with each other. 8. What is the cosmic struggle between good and evil? Model answer: the cosmic struggle between good and evil is a battle that is happening all around us, and within each of us. It is a battle between the forces of light and love, and the forces of darkness and hatred. We are all called to fight in this battle, and to choose good over evil in our own lives. 9. What is the overall message of Lesson 7? Model answer: the overall message of Lesson 7 is that we can live happy and fulfilling lives by following the 5 principles of social ethics and by living in accordance with God's will. The author encourages us to let God into our lives and to trust in His forgiveness and love. In addition to the above, I would like to add that the text is a call to action for us to create a more just and compassionate world. By following the 5 principles of social ethics, we can fight against evil and build a society where everyone is treated with dignity and respect.
Mary isn't just an individual person. She really represents in herself the church. She is the archetype of the church.
From the Augustine Institute comes a new Lectio Bible study series.
There are lots of different ways to study Mary in the Bible, but in this Lectio Bible study, what I want to do is go back to the Old Testament and begin there.
Join acclaimed professor, Dr. Brant Petrie, as he takes you through the heart of sacred scripture and tradition to show the biblical roots of Mary.
She's never explicitly called Mother of God in the New Testament, so why do we call her that as Catholics? What's the meaning of that title? What's the meaning of that name in context? Even Protestant scholars have recognized that Mary's response doesn't make sense. And so it's fitting that Mary, as the kind of archetype of the church in person, would also remain a virgin all of her life so that she would be able to live, in a sense, both identities. She's both virgin bride and fruitful mother.
Mary, the Bible and the Mother of God.
This exciting new free 8-part series will start from October 11th, 2023, on every second and fourth Wednesdays at 10:30 a.m. to 11:45 a.m., and also at 8 p.m. to 9:15 p.m. via Zoom. All are welcome. Please email qingwei203@gmail.com for Zoom details. Thank you for viewing. May God bless you today and always.